I like to see faces. Hi, Arlene. Hi, Mark. Hi, Alex. Rose, Sarah, Alberto, Linda, Janet.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming on this Friday at 7 p.m. and giving up an hour of your time to be here with us. We appreciate it very much. As you probably know, our guest tonight is hypnotist Terri Wilburn, and she has fabulous information and things planned for you tonight. It's going to be great. So thank you again, and I'm going to turn it over to our moderator, Alexa Freeberg.
Hi, everybody. So we are going to, if you have questions about how, like, technological parts or things, message me in the chat. If as you're going through, you have a question and you don't want to wait until the end because you might forget it, feel free to put it in the chat. We are going to, we'll have questions after Terri has a presentation and then the meditation, and then we'll have questions at that time. So thank you very much. It's all you, Terri.
Well, look into my eyes. When I tell someone I'm a hypnotist, they turn away automatically and their eyes go down. They're afraid I'm going to look into the soul, which I do, but I don't tell them that. So I've been a hypnotist since 1993. I had an office for close to 10 years. And that was the time when there was yellow pages advertised or just word of mouth. And I did lectures at churches and schools, and I did radio. I've done member borders. I used to go in there when Brian Weiss was popular. I would go in there and there'd be 50 people there, and I would hypnotize them into a past life regression. But what makes a good hypnotist? If you choose to go to someone, because there's so many out there now, it's gotten quite popular. When I was doing it, it was sort of on the fringe still. And you should always feel comfortable with the person if they have, how long they've been a hypnotist. I would incline if they were more spiritual, because many things happen besides the technical of hypnosis. What does hypnosis mean? It comes from the Latin word sleep. But actually, I do not put you to sleep. I don't want you to go to sleep. But there's another thing at night I learned you could do with your kids or your husband or wife. There's hypnosis attached to sleep, and that's a sneaky one. But the uses, back in the day, smoking was a real popular one. Weight loss was a popular one. Phobias, fear of flying, fear of spiders, fear of snakes, athletic performance, confidence building, sales improvement. I did it all because back then, I took whatever I took. It's funny though, I did past life, in between lives, even remote viewing. People used to come and I used to guide them to remote viewing, and we had fun doing it because we would get details wherever they went. We would get details and we would verify it. We would go visit someone they knew in the past, and they would call them later, and exactly to the detail where they were, what they were doing. And it's amazing. We would take people in between lives. But it's a powerful tool. There's many important or powerful tools out there that we can use to heal, especially now as the consciousness is rising right now. It's like a record player. If the record player, in the old days, when the record's finished, it would drop down, right? And complete, and the new record would drop over it. And we're in a new consciousness right now. So people that haven't dealt, all of you are healers in some level, or dealt with the spirituality and the fringe stuff, but it's not fringe. You worked on yourself, hopefully, and you're able to deal with the new consciousness that's coming in. A lot of people right now can't handle it because that stuff can't survive in this higher vibration. It's coming out for them to look at it. So that's why you see the crazy drivers out, or people, just doing things that are not uh, just yelling or going in arguments over nothing, and it expands. So when a person comes in to my office back in the day, I would explain what hypnosis is. And I think we go right into that mind model a little bit. It's a little blurry, but I'll go over it with you. So you're all my clients right now, okay? And you were to come in, and right now, just me talking, we're in our conscious mind. That's on the top of that egg-like shape. On the outer circle is this conscious mind. And those are the short-term memories, the things you need to do. So you don't have long-term memory in your conscious mind. Your willpower is in your conscious mind. When you want to maybe start a diet, or maybe you want to start exercising or change your life a little bit, and I just need a little bit willpower. You just need more willpower. But willpower is not going to work. Willpower is like the ignition or the keys in your ignition of your car, but if there's no engine, it doesn't go anywhere. It gets you started, but you need to make the changes. Below there in the outer circle is the analytical mind. We're all fairly within our same age group, so we know the Spock mind. It's the analytical mind. Just no feeling, 2 + 2 = 4. It's just basic facts. So the conscious mind just holds basic facts. Conscious mind is the rational mind too. It rationalizes, well, I'm overweight because I need that weight to spiritually keep me on the earth, or I'm big boned, or I smoke because it calms me down, or I can't get a better job because I didn't have the education. It's excuses. That's the conscious mind. So what happens in hypnosis is that we confuse the mind a little bit. When you come sit in my chair, you bypass the critical factor. There's a little wall in between there, so we could go into the subconscious. That's the level below that. And in there is permanent memory. Everything you ever done in your life and other lives, if you're open to that, other planets, other dimensions, it's stored. It's stored in your bones. It's stored in your akashic. It's stored. You have permanent memory. So we're able to access that part of the mind through bypassing your critical factor. All your emotions are in your inner mind. So many times in my chair, I would have men come in, lawyers. I remember this one lawyer came in. Someone told him to come, that I was good, and just to do it. And as soon as I sat him in the chair, he started crying, because the floodgates just open up. Did you ever watch a commercial on TV and all of a sudden you get teary-eyed? The emotions bubble up from the depths of yourself outwardly. That's your emotions are in your inner subconscious mind. All our habits are in there. So we have good habits, right? We have bad habits. So we could go in there and bring awareness to those habits, and we can actually change them through, here's a terminology, either direct suggestion or indirect suggestion or regression. And the mind also below there is self-preservation. It's protective. Sometimes we learn certain things to protect us. We may find out, I'm referring to me because I had a weight problem, that I gained weight to protect myself from the shyness that I had. Because in middle school, whatever, I had all the boys pay attention. And I was a good little Catholic girl, so I start gaining weight very rapidly. It was to protect myself. So when we go in there, we find out, why do you protect yourself? It could be you created an illness to protect yourself. We'll get into the different modalities, the different uses in a moment, but I just want to go to the level below that as the unconscious. And I usually don't take people to the unconscious. It's a beautiful state. You don't accept suggestions at that level. You just, in a place of peace, connected with the conscious of the divine even. It's just a place of healing. It connects you, your body may heal. I may bring someone that's sick into that state and leave them there for a while. So their body, immune system just starts to kick in on a different level. And that's where all your automatic body functions are, your heart, your natural breathing, all that. So for, protection, even people, I remember I worked with one cancer victim. She came in, she had breast cancer, and she was an older woman, and we did regression on her, and we went back to the cause and went back. I mean, this is shoot, I probably worked with her 30 years ago, and she was almost in her 80s, 70, 80s. And it went to a time when her sister, which she was close to, his boyfriend came to the door, her sister wasn't there, and her boyfriend grabbed her breast. And she was so shameful, she didn't tell anybody, and that feeling just manifested for years. So once we went in there, actually, she went back, the tumor disappeared. Thank you. So.
Sorry, did you need that more? I was trying to. Anyway.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
I was done with that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of direct suggestion, like smoking. When people used to come in for smoking, it's usually just one session, unless they really had some other issues connected with it, and then we'll regress to the cause. Right now, people don't realize we're hypnotized from the day we're born. It's our environment, it's our parents, what's going on in the world, the news. It shapes our way we develop. And many times we come in naturally with our own blueprint. When we're born to maybe about 7 years old, we have that connection to God or your higher self. We have this innate ability to go in the path we set out to be when we came to this earth. And we forgot, but there's something in there. If you could go to a relaxed state and remember that part of you and reclaim that, because we're all here to reclaim our greatness. We all are unlimited beings. We all have these unique gifts, but we were told not to, that we were not that good. I was brought up Catholic, and you're a sinner. I used to make up sins when I went to confession. I used to challenge the nuns because I didn't realize it was intuitive, and I would see spirits and I would see Jesus, and they said, you just have to trust that God's here. And I said, no, I know God. I see God. No, you don't. But anyway, you just have to have faith. I says, I don't have to have faith. I know. So I was amazed at the power of hypnosis. In the hypnosis, I also was doing Reiki. Before Reiki, I studied with the old-time healing minister, part of a church. I learned to read billet readings. I did eye movement, whatever is needed. I would spend probably hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. I was doing life-changing hypnosis. That's one reason why I quit, because wasn't doing it right. I would go along with the trip with my patients or my clients, and I would take on too much stuff, even though I had the white light around me, the holy water, and clear myself. I still was, recently someone just released all my clients of the past out of me, and I felt the release. I felt free. But anyway, it was so much fun to see the transformation. There was a story that was amazing, I thought. In my past life, I dated someone that had thoroughbred horses, so I was at the track all the time. And we always try to get this one famous rider, but he was always busy. And so he rode for us once or twice, but he was like the best jockey in Fort Lauderdale down in the Gulf Stream. And I think he traveled also all over. But anyway, we were there one day watching the race. And at the end of the race, he comes jogging back, and he's a talented rider. And the horse did some flippy thing, flips him on his back, and he broke his neck, the fourth, fifth, sixth vertebrae. And for some reason, the man I was dating then, we went to the hospital the next day. And because I get so excited, because I love this stuff, he was behind a glass screen in a bed of some sort that was rocking, and all the tubes, the respirators. He was unconscious. Didn't know he was going to live through the night, make it or not. Didn't know. But he was, I think he was Philippine, and I'm Italian, dark hair. And the nurse said I was probably a relative. So she comes behind the glass, said, "You want to go, talk to him, say what you want to say to him?" Sure. Okay. So I grab hold of his hands and I go, I use another name, John. No matter what happens, you will walk again. You'll be fine. And I'm sending healing energy to him. Whatever the doctors tell you, your parents, your wife, the kids, the jockey, went through all, it doesn't matter. You will walk again. And this is how you do it. You'll hammer your wire, rebuild your neck, and you'll be fine. You'll be better than ever. I'm going on and on. I'm looking, because this is, I don't know, 30 years ago, and I'm looking to make sure no one's hearing me or whatever. And so I broke up with that guy. So about 2 years later, I get a phone call, or maybe it was less than that. And he says, this is John from the track, the jockey or whatever. I want to make an appointment with you. I said, okay. So he made an appointment. He walks in my office. He sits on the couch and he goes, "Terri, I don't know you. I don't remember anybody. The only person I remember is you. What did you tell me?" And I told him what I said, but he was the great client, because he read the Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. So he would imagine his races going the way he wanted, and even other horses would go exactly the way. So he had some abilities there. So with us connecting, I said, the doctors don't know how I'm walking. I was in the hospital upside down for 9 months. And all I did was rewired my neck and solder it and bang it. And so, so he came in, he wanted to get feeling in his inner thighs, because he did the research that you could rebuild nerves. But one session I said, "Hey, let's, see why that accident happened. It was a freak accident. It shouldn't have happened. You're, brilliant jockey." So he didn't quite understand, but he got it afterwards. He would tell himself, so you have to watch what you say to yourself. The power of your words are magic. You have to catch yourself when you're beating yourself up or you get mad, because you're casting a spell. So he would say, I got to work. I got to work, meaning 6, 7, 8 races a day, which is ungodly, taking your life in your hands each race. I got to pay for parents to come to the States. They're in the Philippines. I got to work. There's a hurricane coming. I got to work in the house. I got to do this. I got to do that. He never took time off. But I need a vacation. He kept telling me I need a vacation. So his mind said, okay, we're going to give you a vacation. So they broke his neck, or he broke his neck to give himself a vacation. So it was his second near death. So if the insurance saw him near a horse, he would lose. But I gave him the option, even psychologically, that he can, if you want. It was in power to him. But he ended up getting his own track and training others. But that was amazing. What else? When I first got into it, confidence, it's a great confidence builder, especially with kids. And my daughter was 13, 14, 15 at the time. I forget, but, and she went to a Catholic school, my mistake. But anyway, I said, Becky, let me hypnotize you. It's so good. It's good for confidence. Mom, get away from me. You do the work of the devil. Sister Ann says you do the work of the devil. See, in the Bible, it says this. And I was like, Rebecca, you know, I only work with the clients 1 or 2 times. They're not under my spell. You know, I help them achieve their goals, and they're not under my spell. Use your critical thinking. So one night, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month later, whatever, she played basketball at the time, and we got home late at night, and she had to study for her science test, and she said, I want to go to bed. And it was, I got to study the bones of the body, and I don't want to flunk, and whatever. I said, you know, thinking, oh, this is my chance. Oh, Rebecca, if you let me hypnotize you, you'll do it in 10 minutes, and you could go to bed. Really, Mom? Okay, you could do it. So I just put her in trance, instant induction. And I told her mine will work like a computer. She'll just read the words and the meanings, and all she had to do is push the return button and do it. She came out 6 minutes later and got them all right, 106. So she became a believer out of then. And it's great. Once in a while, I'll see clients that come back or cross my path years later. There was one in Cardinal Gibbons. I was like the only single divorced parent at the time, and everyone was married. So I was a little bit outcast. But anyway, coach asked me to work with their one basketball player. She was their, I guess, point guard. She did 3-pointers. And she was missing them all, and she was missing all her layups. She was missing all her baskets, and she was a star point maker. And so she came to my office, and we're talking. I says, are you a good student? She said, I don't know. Yeah, I guess okay. I said, what's your grade point average? 4.9. Oh, you're a valedictorian. Yes. So she had lack of confidence, so we worked on her confidence there. And, it's fun being a hypnotist because you got to use your imagination, how to figure out and go into somebody's mind, because everybody's different. So she lost their state game. They were 2 points behind. And so she had a foul, 1 point to tie, 2 points to win. So she's there. She lost both. So she blamed herself for losing the state competition. So all I had to do is go in there and make it a team. It was a team effort. The clock just ended on you. And, play with their mind and re-confident her. And all of a sudden the parent says, did you hypnotize her? Because it's like voodoo back there. Yeah, she's making all her points. She's like throwing 4-pointers if there was such a thing. So she just came back. Unfortunately, the coach passed away, so all the team members came back because they did end up winning the following year, I believe. And she told my daughter, because she was on the team, said, is your mom here? And he says, no. He says, oh, I love your mom. She changed my life. She went on to play in college, and now she's a big-time national. She finds coaches nationally or matches athletes with coaches or something like that. and it was just a good feeling. I've taken people to the future. My nephew said I could tell this story. I would take kids all the time. My nieces and nephew can hypnotize them without their parents knowing, because I know how good it is. Well, anyway, later on, he's worked with me, but he came to me, actually asked me this time to help him break up with a girlfriend. He loved her, but wasn't in love, and to go to California. Didn't have any money. He got all his debts paid. He's out of college, but he has a friend there. And so we hypnotized, and that was fine. And then I decided, let's take you to the future. Well, he graduated. He had a championship ring. We worked with him with that, was from UF for diving. And so he went there, and he got a job right away as assistant coach at UCLA. But then he interned for Paramount Pictures and Viacom, and they keep him sold out, and he would work for nothing. But within 6 months, they gave him a job, and before you know, he was executive producer. I'm skipping a little bit, but before he went, we took in the future. He saw himself owning his own show and production company, and being very happy. Well, 5 years later, he's back to Florida. He's doing something for PBS. He ran a studio here. He's doing all that, and he saw it, and he was not doing it at all. He didn't go to school for it. He was studying green because he was an athlete, just to have to pass. And even though he's a smart kid, but he's very talented. Who else did I take to? Sometimes we take in the past. Talk about entities. I had this one lady, she was over 100 pounds weight, maybe 150. Young, beautiful girl, 26 years old, very heavy. She came to lose weight. For her, we did regression, but we end up being an entity attachment. We found out her aunt that was deceased, that was her best friend. They used to go, when they were alive, she would have the best time, and she would take her to Dunkin' Donuts or go to out for ice cream or McDonald's. Not a lot, but this entity, or her deceased aunt, attached herself and would eat through her, and she had that feeling, to grasp that feeling of closeness that she had with her aunt. So she gained weight. So the aunt did not want to leave. She did not want to leave. So we gave her a time element so she could stay as long as she helps her to lose weight, and then we'll readdress it. Well, she came later, months later, or maybe 6, 7 months later. She lost all her weight. She says, my daughter could put my arms around me now. She had a 6-year-old, 7-year-old. So it's amazing, all the possibilities. I never advertised for it, but I did have a lot of people come in that were remembering their molestation as a child, and it was by an aunt or grandparents or neighbor or whoever, uncle. And many times after we do the work, we do a lot of healing, a lot of forgiveness work, how to let go, and explaining when you forgive, you don't forgive the action, you don't forgive what was done. It's really letting it go for them and healing. And we bring them to that transformation, and they would call me like maybe 3 days, maybe a week later, Terri, they're also the same. Terri, you won't believe this. My uncle called me and he said he was sorry. He apologized. We had the best connection and forgiveness, and I had that happen so many times. So the power, our thoughts are not just in our minds. It goes out. We are all connected. We're in a mastermind right now, all of us, and we're collectively raising our energy. just knowing the possibilities, all you can be, right now, what are those thoughts that you say to yourself, even if it's, I'm tired, oh, I'm in pain, or I'm too old, or it won't happen to me, or I don't have enough money, or it only happens to other people, I'm too old to meet the love of my life, or I'm too unique, or it just be, I met a lady, she says, I can't be me if I meet another man. And I said, well, that's your belief system. You could find a man or a woman that supports you in who you are, and you support each other to be the best that you can and have an adventure. So basically, we remove the blocks to your pure self. And whatever comes in, I do exactly what the client asks me to. Whatever they come in, we do. And, if something else comes up, I won't actually work on it, but I'll let them know if they want to work on it. It's amazing in trance people that are just like accountants or doctors or dentists that come to me, and all of a sudden they say, Terri, there's someone here for you. I said, okay. Buddha's here. He says, you need to laugh more. You need to have fun or whatever. Yes, many interesting, because you open in that realm. I realized I was in that realm all day long when I was with clients. I remember sitting there in between clients, and Abe Lincoln comes walking in and sitting on my couch. And I'm like, what are you here for? I says, well, we used to know each other. Oh, okay. But then the client knocked, and he disappeared. But he shows up every once in a while, maybe because my daughter is an attorney, I don't know, but I never went into that. I could go on and on with different stories. I had a girl that came in and she did cutting. She couldn't stop, and cutting's usually to feel alive or to ground. They usually do it to ground themselves. So she was great. She went like 3 or 4 past lives within 20 minutes and got the answer. She committed suicide in all 3 lives in one. And she's a little tiny petite girl, and she was a big burly man that hunt bears, and he ended up killing himself with a shotgun. And another time she was like a call girl, and she hung herself, and something else, because she felt shame of herself. So we cleared all that up, and she stopped cutting herself. So it's amazing. So imagination is more powerful than fact. So you could create your life by just using your imagination, like Janet does, imagining her groups expanding. And so right now, let's see how good you are in following instructions. Let's see if you could just close your eyes for a moment. This is just a test. And we're just using imagination. We're going to open them in the moment. And all you do is imagine, as you close your eyes, that maybe you got super glue on them and the eyelids are sticking together. And the more you try to open them, they tighten down. You relax the muscles so much that they just lock down. As you breathe and relax more and more, and you imagine your eyes locking down, and you try to open them, but they stay closed. You try to open them, but they stay closed. And maybe that glue is drying. You can use your imagination. And, you were just had it in your fingers. You touched your eyelid. So you relax your muscles around the eyes to the point they just don't work. You relax them so much. Now try to open them and see they stay closed. Feel that feeling. Now you could open them. Go ahead and open them now. Did you feel even the slightest pull, like a locking down? Another one is
open my eyes.
Excuse me?
I couldn't open my eyes.
Okay, well, Linda's a hypnotist also. So she knows how to be hypnotists. All hypnotists are hypno junkies because we know how powerful and how good it feels all the time. And I'm just looking. I had the police come in for stress. I had the one guy that handled tough situations. Everybody was afraid. He was in special forces, and someone sent him to me. And he came in. He was scary. He just came in like, "Arr, arr, arr." His wife was afraid of him. Someone told me that I knew at a party, everybody afraid to talk to him. And so we hypnotized him, we regressed him, and he was just pissed off. He was in special forces in the military, and he'd go in and bomb villages and do all that crazy stuff. So we had a lot of stuff just built up. And the last one that kicked it off was like he ran, almost killed himself trying to get this guy that committed a robbery and assaulted someone. He was jumping all over fences and whatever. He was, and he finally caught him. He booked him, went to jail, but he was out the next day, pissed him off, and all this stuff that built up. So we just went in there and just cleared him up and whatever we did at the time. And I get a phone call from his wife thanking me. He smiles now. People don't recognize who he is because he's like jovial and playful, and he just changed his personality. I had another person come in for anxiety and stress, and she was she had all the dark makeup on, and she'd go to the hospital once a week for heart arrhythmia and everything. So she came for lots of people. I'm the last chance saloon back in the day, and they would come to me, and so we worked on her, cleared her up, and she was supposed to do a follow-up the following week or whatever. And I was like, God, she's a no-show, whatever. So I looked outside down the hallway, and all I could see was this little girl that I didn't recognize. She transformed. She had a little flower dress, little light makeup on, but she hasn't been to the hospital. She feels great, no anxiety. She wanted to work on something else. So I don't know. Before we do a little, I want to do a little meditation for y'all. Any questions, or we could wait to after any quick questions, and then we could ask major questions afterwards if you want.
Hey, Terri.
Sure.
A lot of people
Alberto?
don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that you were gifted almost from birth, or perhaps from before birth. So, at what point did hypnosis attract you to it?
Well, you don't grow up to become a hypnotist. I was leading a meditation and a group. I used to go to a group every week. It was a spiritual group for abundance, actually. And there happened to be, there's no accidents, a radio talk host there, and he happened to be a hypnotist. He says, "You're a natural. You should be doing this for a living." So I signed up for classes the following week. And when I finished the course, someone helped me, a psychologist that wanted to be in the office with me. We opened up. Gifts. I didn't know I had gifts. I would just play with spirit as a child. I would know things. I think it was more of a manifester because I would think of something, it would show up. I remember in 5th grade, the teacher was going to let us, one of us out of 35 kids, run the class while he had to go somewhere for the hour, and I just telepathically messed with his mind out, and he picked me. Everybody's waving their hands, and I didn't wave my hand. Maybe I was using psychology, reverse psychology, and he chooses me. But I play with that a lot. Actually, last week, I was at my granddaughter's basketball game, and she has a new coach, and she's new on the team, and he has his people that he likes, and my granddaughter is very good, and he was didn't know who to. He was in a. His mind was, he didn't know who to pick at that time because his point guard injured, and I was like, I just kept saying her name, directing to him, and all of a sudden he goes, "Ashlyn, you go up there." It's just, the coincidence, you don't know. But I would, people would tell me their deepest, darkest secret. I would do healings, and Janet knows, in the grocery store. I would see this person like in a bubble, my idea of an energetic connection, and I'd let it go. And then all of a sudden we're meeting in the cheese section, and I'll talk, and then all of a sudden I'll give her a message, and then a healing, and then it would, um, multiply, go to someone else. But the funny thing was, I used to go up to UF, quite often, and it's a 4-hour drive. And back then, I started drinking Starbucks, but they had Dunkin' Donut on the turnpike there, and so I'm driving, and I said, "Oh, I really could go for coffee now." And a voice said, "No, you can't. You can't go for coffee." But I want coffee. I'm arguing. I want coffee, and so go to the next one, they said. Okay. Then I see the billboard. Oh, Starbucks. They got Starbucks. And I said, "Thank you. You're taking me Starbucks." And so I go in, I get some water also. And just then, when I go to check out, the woman was about ready to have a diabetic seizure. So I grabbed hold of her hands, told her to look into my eyes, and some name came to me with some long Southern name. And it said, "Oh, that's my grandmother." I said, "Well, she's here now. You're going to be fine. Just keep looking in my eyes. And this is what you're going to do. When I leave, you get your water, you take your medication, take care of it, da, 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 have a candy bar or whatever." And it's like spirit saying, "Okay, who's nearby?" If Alberta was there, maybe you say, "Send Alberta," but it's, "Oh, Terry's coming. She'll do it." That happens often. Another time I'm going to the bank teller, and the bank president's mom in spirit comes to me. "You got to go see my daughter. You got to go see my daughter." I said, "No, I'm busy. I got to go. I can't deal with this. I got things to do." "No, you got to go in." So I said, "Oh, always listen." So I go in, and she was with a bunch of people, and I just go right in, and I gave her a hug. I said, "Your mom said to give you a hug." "Oh, you don't know how much I need this." And I walk away. So that's my life. That happens all the time. Just the other day, I had the painter come to the door and tell me, well, you don't know his name, about, I don't know why I'm telling you this. He was molested. He was rejected as a child, and all this stuff came up. And I gave him some tools, and he said it worked. And so even though I'm not out and about, they sort of find me, and it's sort of amazing when you just say, "Okay." My husband always says, "Who are you talking to now?" When we used to fly all the time, on the airplane, I'm doing a session when someone's sitting next to me. So I love it, because I wish I had this as a child, because I had so many insecurities growing up, and I was shy. I would hide in the background, but there was part of me knew I had something. Um, yeah, I just listened to spirit, but I never thought I had gifts. I always looked up to other people, and Janet could relate to this, that they had this gift and that gift, and I would learn from them. But I used to be surrounded by a lot of gifted people at one time. Um, but it's not about the gifts. It's about connecting with your spirit, your your soul, your blueprint, to release patterns. So hypnosis is one modality, but you could do it through frequency, by raising your frequency, which loving yourself, being in nature, will help you raise your frequency. Music, but also being the observer. Observe your limitations. Observe when you say something you wish you didn't say. Observe when you made mistakes. Step away from it. Don't blame yourself, and just ask, what is the pattern that I'm repeating over and over, especially if it's in the same thing that happens in relationships, with friendships, with work, or with wives, spouses. And what pattern could I incorporate to better my life, to focus, to achieve my goals? Because we're all here to be great. We came here to experience the God within us, because we are a speck, are part of that whole light, each and every one of us. And we're here to bless each other, and to remind each other, I see the light. I greet the light within you. Many times when I'm with around another psychic person, I say, well, you're fine. How am I? You know, because we don't really see our own stuff sometimes. But if you step back and observe yourself and release judgment, it's hard. But like any habit, that's another way of hypnosis working is repetition. Um, TV's hypnotize you, news is hypnotize you. You know, the ticker tape of the news that's going, and there's usually a flashy thing. They're hypnotizing you. You have to be aware. Advertisements hypnotizing you. There's a consciousness. Actually, during COVID, I did not take the shot. It's okay if people did, but I would hear it in the ethers, like somewhere they were blasting, it's okay to take the shot. It's okay to take the shot at one point. So we have to be very aware, are these our thoughts or someone else's thoughts? You know, so should we do a little meditation? Because it's going to be almost an hour.
Terri, can I ask a quick question?
Who's that, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to do hypnosis a lot when I was in my early 20s. I'm 71 now.
Okay.
I want to get back into it.
Okay.
And do you have anybody, I mean, you know, as you said, there's literally dozens, if not hundreds of people on Facebook putting up hypnosis ads. You know, once you tell the Facebook people you're interested, they send all these things, people towards you. Do you have any people that you would recommend, or person or group that you would recommend for me to get back into this, to start learning
Well,
better,
I would
better
call,
techniques?
yeah, I don't have the number with me. The National Guild of Hypnotists, they're up in, say, Maine, New Hampshire area. The
Okay.
National Guild, because that I belong to them. I'm still certified through them for over 30 years. And they have a convention every August up there. And they, Don Martin, I think, is doing, I think they're doing something in Vegas coming in February, which is a fun event. But those, you could get on their mailing list, and they also could tell you who they recommend in the area too. But a lot of the teachers, they come down from somewhere else, or Orlando, DeLand, there's some. But I would call the National Guild of Hypnotists, and the number's available. Or you could take my number, call me, and I'll get that number for you. I don't know if I have it on here right now, but yeah.
Alexa,
you could go to www.ngh.net. I have a phone number here, but I'm not sure if it's still, it's 603-429-9438. Did you get that?
What was it again? 603-429 what?
603-429-9438.
9438. Okay. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Alexa, do we have other questions in the chat?
Mark, do you want to? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Am I muted? No. Can you hear me? Hear me? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Mark, do you want to ask? You had two questions in the chat. Do you want to ask those?
Sure. Thank you. Okay. I guess I'll ask the second one. It's probably the better one. When you get a patient or a client, how do you choose the best hypnosis technique for a given person? Or do you have a favorite technique that you use? Or even you can you even call them techniques?
Yeah, the first session they come in. I do instant. I do a Dave Ellman, which I could give to you. And then that gets them into hypnosis because there's testing involved. We'll make the numbers disappear. So we'll test their arms. We can see their eyes if they have the eyes going back and forth, and sometimes they're teary-eyed or they're red. And then I do whatever they came to. We'll do an initiation, and we'll just probably do direct suggestion, and then I do a cleaning up at the end. I do a overall cleaning up, which I'm going to do maybe a little bit now if you have time, but and that's it. And then it depends on every person's different. Sometimes they're tough. You got to figure how you can get in there. And I'll regress to cause, always regress to the very initial event that happened. That fear of flying is not fear of flying. I had this one guy that he came in, and he went back to he's 5 years old, and he was in a tree house, and his friends were playing. He was dangling on a rope, and his friends dropped the rope, and he looked up, the rope hit him on his head, and he was scared a minute, but he didn't hurt himself. So he was in fear of flying. They went off skiing somewhere with the family, and then later on, something else happened in school where he hit the same head, and then he went flying. They went to turbulence, and the desktop or the table hit his head, and he hit his head again, and he got a little nervous, little sweat, but nothing to make him fear. But every time he went flying, it got worse and worse to the point he wouldn't go on the plane at all. And so we just went in there and made him safe. We went to the original event, and sometimes we'll bring the adult person in and to the little person, and there's so much. You have fun with it. Everyone's different. Do a lot of forgiveness. You got to be creative and in tune. And I used to see colors around people, so I would see illness. Sometimes waking hypnosis works too. I had a little girl. She didn't come to me. Her parents went to a spiritual minister. I happened to be there because I helped out and did medicine whales and stuff like that. And they left her with me in the room, and she had a tumor size of a grapefruit in her brain. She was on a Make-A-Wish Foundation. They didn't give her much to live, time to live. And so we were talking, and she felt comfortable with me, and I was young and you're and so I don't even know if I hypnotized her, but I took her to the future, and she saw herself married with kids. And within a month, it went to a pea size. She was on chemo, but said no way that chemo would have done that. They still let her go to wherever she wanted to go, Disney World or something like that, but she survived. But the thing is, we had to work with the parents, because the parents treated her like she was dying. So many times when I work with kids, I have to convince the parents to come in to make the changes, because they don't realize what they're doing to their child at some point, because kids are super sensitive. And I had another kid. I worked with a lot of kids because not too many people would work with kids. I had one kid that pulled all his hair out, his eyebrows and his hair and hair in his legs, and we regressed him. He was 9 years old, and he was really great. He was so smart. Matter of fact, forget, the smarter you are, the easier you go into hypnosis. It's just the people that are not too smart, they're a little harder to deal with. But so his trauma was a teacher. Oh, he had little father issues. We worked with that, but it was the teacher that yelled at him for something he didn't do, and he happened to be picking his eyebrow at the time, so it just anchored him into that habit, and it just got progressively worse because the desk next door, the kid next door was the problem, and he got blamed for it. And he was this good, smart kid, and it just devastated him. So we just really don't know what event will trigger us. So, um,
Do you do just in person or do you do remote work
well,
as
probably
sessions as well?
after the new year, I may do remote. Right now, it's just referral of people I know. I'll do occasionally. I worked with I worked with actually I work with my grandkid and just release all his issues with his parents, even though I love them, they're good parents, but it's the way the kids perceive their parents. And we just changed the dialogue on that. And all of a sudden you see them doing better, or their attention's better, or it's just wonderful when you can work with someone, you can see them change. And suggestion sometimes doesn't happen right then and there. It's like planting seeds. So I love when I work with young kids because the seed's there and they grow in that new direction into success, um, because that's their new confidence of who they are, and they don't have the other stuff. I try to clear them of their parents' issues. We have so much, their parents well-meaning to do the best they can, but sometimes we suffocate our kids, we misalign who they are. So one-on-one, yeah, you have more control. Sometimes I, I don't know, like if I was to regress someone on this, sometimes every once in a while I get a person that has an abreaction, and I like to be able to put my hand on their shoulders. Or sometimes when they're in my office, I put a blanket on them and I may hold, put my hand on the shoulder. I asked permission if I could do that first. And they said, yeah, they feel comforted to know, because you're going into another realm. You're not sure. I had people that had abreactions that were bad. I had one that was a demon came out. A good thing I had my holy water there. I mean, it did not want to leave. She was flying off my chair. It was just like she was wailing, and it was like, okay. But I don't know what this was. I always had a sense of calmness. The craziest things would happen sometimes when people would scream, or I worked with a lot of rape victims, and just get them to a place of total healing. Before I hypnotized power, a radio station, I won't say what, the sales team, and it was one of my first ones. So I had a couple of hypnotists come with me to watch and critique me. And I had one go in the bathroom and say, hypnotize me for public speaking because I'm freaking out right now. So she would hypnotize me in the stall, and I would go out there, and I would go and retest everybody, and then I would numb them and put my fingernails so tight and red they have a mark on their face or whatever. And then I give them suggestions of healing. And, because you have to really make believers out of everybody that this happened. Or Pinecrest School, I went and did their psychology department. And I had one girl up there, and I made the whole class disappear, and she couldn't see anybody. And they were freaking out, like, they were trying to get her attention. She couldn't. And they were all going to Harvard or Yale. They were seniors, and they never experienced the hypnosis. And they were so anxiety driven, because if they got an A was not good enough. They had to get an A plus, in their classes. It was just too crazy, that one class. So yeah, hypnosis was an adventure. But when I met my husband, I had a choice of going big or traveling the world. So I took time out to travel the world and had the opportunity to experience joy and happiness. And yeah. So there's waking hypnosis. And any other questions? Indigo?
Yes,
I would like to. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I was gonna make a comment here because we're probably about to go into meditation, and I was gonna suggest for anyone who would be watching the screen to keep an eye on Terry's eyes. I've known Terry for many years, and up until maybe a month ago, I didn't know what color her eyes were. because I've always looked at her eye and I see them in every single color there is, but not one, like multiples at a time. And then she told me she had brown eyes, and I just could not believe it.
That was in
So
the makeup.
she carries so much energy, and she's always so happy. She talks of herself as being shy, but she's
Not
so
anymore.
happy about doing everything. So she carries such a beautiful energy all the time that maybe as she guides us through the meditation, some of you can notice the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, no, it took a long time to get here. I've been um, overcome trauma too, and I've been evicted into the snow because of a horrible ex-husband, and life changed. I just always trusted. I always trusted. And the next day I would have a new possibility, and many things I've overcome. I got lost in Harlem once in the middle of the morning, took the wrong train, and I'm like the only
White
little
person.
girl. Yes. And I just put the bubble light around me, and just send it out to everybody, waiting for the next train because I had to get off to change. It was like, oh my God. So yeah, I had I was always protected. I remember skidding in my little Firebird, in the rain, and I stepped on the brakes too fast, and I did a 360 in the middle of the crossroads, and I was ready to hit a pole, and all of a sudden it just felt like someone caught me. It was just like an inch before the pole, and it was just like I was in a glove of cotton. Nothing ever happened. And I experienced a perfume saint, and that's a good story, and then I'll go right into a meditation. I was up in Lantana, and Arlene knows. She went to the yoga center where before it was built, it was just raw land, and I was the only one in car with AC. I was like 19 years old, and up in Deland, and they asked if I would drive them to this property. There was a master coming from India. And so in the middle of the night, we're all sleeping on the floor. I could feel this electricity come. It was like all white light, and it woke me up, and he was erasing our energies. And so they asked me if they could drive in my car. So I'm in the car with this perfume saint. He supposedly manifests flowers and perfume, and another saint in the back, and an interpreter, and me. So I'm driving, I'm 19. I had a rose on my side. I said, a fake rose, plastic rose. I said, I'm going to make sure he doesn't touch it. I'm going to make sure he doesn't oil it. I'm going to be the first one in the car and the last one to leave so he doesn't touch it. I'm going to see if he scents it. So that was one thing. And I was a speed demon. I'm going like 100 miles an hour. They don't say anything. They're just sitting there. All of a sudden I slow down. I said, why am I slowing down? There was a speed trap. And then I start speeding again. And there was 3 speed traps. Each time I slowed down without them saying a word. It was just in that consciousness. And I remember he didn't speak any English. And once I was parked against the wall, we stopped for lunch, and he said, all of a sudden he speaks, and he goes, no, 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 you can't back up. You always have to go forward in life. And I'm arguing with it. I can't. I'm against the wall. No, you go forward. Doesn't matter if you're against the wall. So he made me go forward. And anyway, I came back home. My car smelled like sandalwood for a year, and other people would smell it. It wasn't just in my mind. And it was a black interior, so it would just scent it. So this world is so possible if you could break away your habits, just be aware how you're creating. Look at your life. It's your thoughts. If you want something changed, start with your thoughts, and do a therapy of some sort, or get someone to tag team. But I guess we're going to do a short meditation because it's almost time up, huh? So
I just wanted to say something really fast. I just want to say something really fast because Terry's my best friend, that she is so much more than what she just talks about. When she first came to my meeting, she would talk about auras. I would always say, tell me what my aura was. I didn't know anything about that. And she has cleared things that were in my auras just by knowing her. And just being, I don't tell you this too much, but being in her presence presence, you do get a calming effect. She's very, very calming that way. So I just wanted to put that in there, Bestie. And I love you so much, doing such a great job.
Aw, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, one day we'll go in and we'll try reading y'all, like, Mark, I'm picking up stuff. There's something you have to release right now. You could call me. But it's not a bad thing. It's just something, it's just an old way of thinking that's keeping you, you like everything. Do you like everything in order?
You talking about me?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
To me,
no, but
No, not Mark, not Mark.
no, that is not me, but you're picking up on somebody here
okay.
through me. You're picking
Okay.
up on somebody here that's through me. It is a significant issue. So yes, order has a lot to do with my life at the moment. It does. So it's interesting you said that.
Yeah.
It's not me. It deals with me. Yes, I have to
Yeah,
get a little bit more,
it's like
a little bit more
protective.
orderly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like protective of you. You don't need to. Yeah, but anyway. All right, let's you could call me, text me. Anybody, you feel free to text with any questions. Uh, let's just close our eyes. We'll do a quick one because it's late. And you even could close off if you want. Let me clear my voice. As you're sitting in your chairs, just bring your attention to what you feel right now. You may hear the AC in the distance, or a cat humming, or a refrigerator going, but bring the attention to your body. Notice the clothes around your body, maybe the scent. Take a deep breath. As you do, just let go out of your mouth. Let go of today. Just be here in this moment right now. Imagine you're in a bubble right now, this crystalline bubble, a protective bubble of light. You're in the center of it. And to make believe that you're just drifting just a little bit above the ground. You have this protective golden light all around you. And it's moving you forward, whatever that means, forward. And it's lifting you. And you may notice that there's a fog around you. As you go through this fog, your light is brighter. It lights your bubble. As you go through this cloud or fog, and you're slowly inching up higher and higher, you may notice that there may be some dark spots or little pieces of what seems to be paper. Some are red and some are white that are sticking to the inside of this bubble. And you now notice, as you focus on this bubble, on these little pieces of what seems to be red pieces of paper or white, that on the red pieces of paper are all the negative and emotional feelings from all your past, like fear, doubt, guilt, hatred, anxiety, rejection, unhappiness. All the negative, depressing, inhibiting, defeating thoughts and emotional energies and feelings from your past are stored in this room of your subconscious on these little red bits about paper, what seems to be paper. Now become aware of this. You can pull these red bits of paper down from the inside of the bubble. You could clear every inch of that bubble until your hands are full. You could crumble them up and you notice that a hole has opened itself on the side of your bubble like a vacuum, a magical vacuum. And you could stick all those red pieces of paper down so they could never get back again. You could sense with 4 or 5 trips, gathering down the handfuls and take them to that hole and clearing all the negative and emotional energies from your inner self. So now the count of 1, I want you to start working at it. And I'll sit here quietly for a few minutes. Now start the count of 1 and clean it up. 3, 2, 1. You could imagine a vacuum. You could imagine a laser gun. You could imagine anything you want. This is your inner self, your inner mind. Get those doubts, those no's out of the way. Maybe it's a disease or pain even. Take those pain and put it down that hole. Now you notice that the hole itself has closed itself and you focus on the white bits. The bubble's getting whiter. The good, the positive, energizing, helpful thoughts and emotional energies and feelings are expanding, growing to fill the whole bubble with this wonderful light. It's growing, expanding until the whole sphere is filled with wonderful, positive light. Feel the resurgence of positive energy within yourself. As the place is becoming uplifting, pure, energizing, white, and take a deep breath and inhale the purity, the strength, the self-confidence, the love, the peace, the assurance, the freedom of this atmosphere. Feel it permeating every cell and every atom of your being. From this moment forward, moment by moment, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, the thoughts and emotional energies of your subconscious remain so positive, so calm, so stable, like now, that every part of you, body and mind, remains calm, objective, and creative, and functions to absolute perfection, just the way God designed and made you to function. Now you imagine your bubble. It is still flowing. It's going higher now. The light is going higher. And you see the other bubbles, and you're all connected, and you energize each other as you go through the fog. And the fog is still dense, but it cannot touch you. You're lifting above the fog. You're lifting above the fog of the consciousness of mankind. You are the light. As you move across higher and higher, you imagine you all are connected, this light, and their light is raining, raising below you. You're glowing, sending light to the earth, to all the people that are in that fog, the people that are lost in that fog, that minutia of negative thinking, the minutia of not being awake and not knowing who they are. You are the light. And as you float up, you see the sparkle of each and every one of you. And your ball or sphere of light, it's expanding higher and higher. And the stars are connecting with you. Your angelic beings are energizing you, remembering who you are. You are a perfection. You are unique. Only you have the ability to be who you are. When God made us, you know, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us. Actually, who are we? We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, handsome, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. You're playing small to serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so other people won't feel insecure around you. We were born to manifest the glory of God within us. It's not in just some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberate others. So imagine this light. Feel the bliss. Feel the quiet. Feel the connectedness, the perfection, remembrance of the gifts that you all have. And your light shines through and the fog is dissipating. As the fog dissipates, you come back to earth and find the earth magnificent and beautiful, nature blooming, people at peace, people that are kind, people that looking for the light, looking to remember who they are. And by your presence, they remember that. You are fantastic. You are beautiful. You are highly intelligent. You are a spark that came here at this time to reach the pinnacle of who you are. So everyone remembers. And for those who are not ready to do it, it's fine. It's fine. And you just have joy. Everything in your life. Even if you have to sweep the floor, you find joy. Or you have to go to work, you find joy. My husband always said, even in a bad movie, you could find one good thing. From now on, find the goodness, even in the negativity. Find the gift in that negativity or the things that don't go your way, because you could change it. It's showing you, oh, I need to release this. I need to make changes. And as you work on yourself and be the best version of yourself, the people around you will change. They will uplift. If not, they will leave you. I know. I've done it. It's amazing. Just breathe in and remember who you are. You are perfect. You could handle any situation with ease. You observe yourself having life. You see yourself already in the goal achieved. And nothing could take that away. If you find yourself in a negative mode, just turn the light switch on. And remember, you are a sphere of light, of beauty, of purity, of power, of confidence, of successful feeling. You are at success. Every day in every way, you are more confident in who you are. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to save the world. You just do what you love to do. Follow the pattern that you came here to do, what gives you joy. what energizes you. And take time to rest. Take time to take care of your body, because this is the vehicle that holds your spirit. This is a blessing. This is a gift that you came to earth. So many spiritual people want to leave the earth. I don't like it, whatever. You came here on a mission. You came here to be the best version of yourself, to overcome the difficulties. And once you make that switch, magic happens. Once you make that decision, it changes. Om. When you're ready, you could open your eyes or just go to sleep.
That was outstanding. Right, guys? Oh my God. As always,
Thank you. Thank
incredible.
you.
Thank you so much. So
Thank
does
you
anyone
so much.
anything else anyone wants to say to Terri before we close? Go ahead.
Thank you for this opportunity, because I'm out of training, you know. I haven't done this for a while. I do it in groups or one-on-one, but thank you for this opportunity to share.
This
Thank
was
you. Wow.
so wonderful. You are just, I have like all these things like, yeah, that, yeah, that. Yep. And I just thank you so much. And I just want to connect more. This feels so good. So thank you for creating that space.
Well, maybe down the future, we'll just do a complete, like a hypnosis meditation where I'll take you down really deep. We could experiment with that down maybe next year sometime.
That would be great. And Alexa is another reason why you need to come to our meeting, come down here, get that ticket, girl.
I know. In the new year.
Yeah, Indigo has a room now, right?
Yep. Okay. So thank you, Terri. We're definitely gonna have to have Terri back because that was amazing. Could you imagine doing a really long one? Woo. And yeah, she does them at Janet's meetup at Sovereign Creators all the time over on the east coast of Florida. And it's amazing. I mean, it's in person, it's even more powerful. Really amazing. Okay. So thank you again, Terri. Thank you everyone for coming this evening and staying with us. It was amazing. I hope you had a great time. Our next one, I think, is going to be on December 19th because we don't want to run into the Christmas and New Year's. And I'm not quite sure. I think I know who our guest will be, but I have to confirm it before I announce it. So thanks again. I love you all very much and have a great evening.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy.
Good night.
Thank Alberto.
Bye,
Bye, Janet. Thank you, Janet. Rose. Alex. Alexa.
Good night, Terri.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.